शारदे पाहि मां शङ्कर रक्ष मां। 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 शारदे
श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्। शारदा शारदाम्भोज वदना वदनाम्बुजे सर्वथा सर्वथा अस्माकं सन्निधिं क्रियात्। ओं भारती कर्णापात्रं भारती पदभूषणं भारती पदमारुढं भारती तीर्थमाश्रिये विद्याविनय सम्पन्नं वीतरागविवेकिनं वन्दे वेदान्त तत्त्वज्ञं विदुशेखर भारतीं सद्गुरु शरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। हरिः ओम्। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। Thank you all for joining us for another session of Vande Vidya Shankaram. Today, we'll continue Vedanta through Stotras by Brahmashri Pranav Swaminathan. He is continuing his discussion on Vishnu Sahasranam. Please take it away, Pranav. Thank you.
श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। श्रीमते शङ्करार्याय धीमते अद्भुतशक्तये नमोऽस्त्वद्वैतसिद्धान्तस्थापनोपात्तमूर्तये। भारतीकरुणापात्रं भारतीपदभूषणं भारतीपदमारूढं भारतीतीर्थमाश्रये विद्याविनयसम्पन्नं वीतरागं विवेकिनं वन्दे वेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञं विधुशेखरभारतीम्। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय कृष्णाय क्लिष्टकारिणे नमो वेदान्तवेद्याय गुरवे बुद्धिसाक्षिणे कृष्णद्वैपायनं व्यासं सर्वलोकहिते रतं वेदाब्जभास्करं वन्दे शमादिनिलयं मुनिं सहस्रमूर्तेः पुरुषोत्तमस्य सहस्रनेत्राननपादबाहोः सहस्रनाम्नां स्तवनं प्रशस्तं निरुच्यते जन्मजरादिशान्त्यै श्रुत्वा धर्मानशेषेण पावनानि च सर्वशः युधिष्ठिरः शान्तनवं पुनरेवाभ्यभाषत। युधिष्ठिर उवाच किमेकं दैवतं लोके किं वाप्येकं परायणं स्तुवन्तः कं कमर्चन्तः प्राप्नुयुर्मानवाः शुभं को धर्मः सर्वधर्माणां भवतः परमो मतः किञ्जपन्मुच्यते जन्तुर्जन्मसंसारबन्धनात्। श्रीभीष्ममुत्तरमुवाच जगत्प्रभन् जगत्प्रभुं देवदेवमनन्तं पुरुषोत्तमं स्तुवन्नाम सहस्रेण पुरुषः सततोत्थितः तमेव चार्चयन्नित्यं भक्त्या पुरुषमव्ययं ध्यायन् स्तुवन् नमस्यं सृजमानस्तमेव च अनादिनिधनं विष्णुं सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं लोकाध्यक्षं स्तुवन्नित्यं सर्वदुःखातिको भवेत् ब्रह्मण्यं सर्वधर्मज्ञं लोकानां कीर्तिवर्धनं लोकनाथं महद्भूतं सर्वभूतभवोद्भवम् एष मे सर्वधर्माणां धर्मोऽधिकतमो मतः यद्भक्त्या पुण्डरीकाक्षं स्तवैरर्चेन्नरः सदा परमय्यो महत्तेजः परमय्यो महत्तपः परमय्यो महद्ब्रह्म परमय्यः परायणं पवित्राणां पवित्रं यो मङ्गलानां च मङ्गलं दैवतं देवतानां च भूतानां यो व्ययः पिता यतः सर्वाणि भूतानि भवन्त्यादियुगागमे यस्मिंश्च प्रलयं यान्ति पुनरेव युगक्षये तस्य लोकप्रधानस्य जगन्नाथस्य भूपते विष्णोर्नाम सहस्रं मे शृणु पापभयापहम् यानि नामानि गौणानि विख्यातानि महात्मनः ऋषिभिः परिगीतानि तानि वक्ष्यामि भूतये. Until now, we have been looking at the shloka Tasya loka pradhanasya Jagannathasya bhupate Vishnor sahasram me shruno papa bhayapaham, which corresponds to the 12th shloka of the Purva Pitika as per the Shankara Bhashya. Now, we had gone over some of the meaning, but to recap and continue, Tasya means Brahmanaha, of Brahman. And the description that Shankaracharya gives here is Tasya evam lakshana lakshitasya ekadaivatasya. Already we saw that Devata is equivalent to Deva. So, evam lakshana lakshitasya, the one that has the gunas that were described in the previous shlokas, starting with Pavitrana Pavitranyaha, that of that Brahman, one Brahman, एकदैवतस्य लोकप्रधानस्य लोकनहेतुभिः विद्यास्थानैः प्रतिपाद्यमानस्य. So normally we think of loka as jagat. Jagat or the world is loka. Here, as we saw before, lokana means to see. So as kimekam daivatam loke, even there Shankaracharya says the loka does not mean world but the shastra, because we see through the jnana chakshus or jnana chakshusha. So because of that, loka is means by what we see. So it means in the shastras. Lokana hetubihi vidyasthanaihi pratipadyamanasya. Lokana hetubihi, or the cause of our sight, which is the shastra drishtanta. By that, all those vidyasthanas, the chaturdasha vidyasthanas that we discussed earlier, pratipadyamanasya, the one that is being described and expounded in those texts. Jagannathasya, Jagatam Nathah Swami, Maya Shabalah, Paramatma Nirlepascha. So here the Natha after entire Jagat, Jagatam Nathah Swami, or the Lord of that, and Maya Shabalah, the one that is apart from Maya, and Paramatma, the Brahman, and Nirlepascha, the one that does not have any connection with any of the Srishti. Meaning, Bhagavan says, Ajopi sannavyayatma bhutanam ishvaropi san prakritim swamadhishtaya sambhavam yatmamaya. And he says, Vidhi akartaram avyayam. So all these things means does not have the shashti or that belonging that other jivas have. And Pratibadyamanasya Jagannatha Swami Maya Shabalah Paramatma Nillepascha. Nillepascha means the one without these relations. Tasya Bhupade Mahipala Vishnoho Vyapanashilasya Nama Sahasranam Namnam Sahasram Ashubha Karma Kritam Papam Samsara Lakshana Bhayam Chapahanti iti Papa Bhayapaham. त्वं मे मत्तः शृणु एकाग्रमनसा भूत्वा अवधारय इत्यर्थः. So what is being discussed here is Tasya Bhupate Mahipala. Bhu means Mahi, earth. Pala or the protector of the earth. Vishnu Vyapanashilasya, the one who is a Vyapanashila or the one that is Sarva Vyapi. Vishnu means the one that exists everywhere, omnipresent. Nama Sahasram, Nam Sahasram, the thousand names. अशुभकर्मकृतं पापं संसारलक्षणभयं चापहन्ति इति पापभयापहम्. Papabhayapaham means we get bhaya because of the cause of papa. Papa karma leads to bhaya. Meaning, if we, like even in swapna, in the Jagrata Avastha, if you do lots of good karma, we get suswapna. And if we do lots of papa karmas when we are awake, in the Jagrata Avastha, we get duswapna. Like that, the if we do punya, we get mangala out of that. In the Laukika Drishti. Like that, Ashubha Karmakritam Papam Samsara Lakshana Bhayam Chapahanti iti. So the Lakshana of Samsara or Bhaya without the Advaita Jnana is caused by this Ashubha Karmakritam Papam. And that is being removed. Apahanti iti. Papa Bhayapaham. So this is the Lakshana of Papa Bhayapaham. Shunu Papa Bhayapaham we have, right? सहस्रम नाम सहस्रम नाम सहस्रम अशुभकर्मकृतं पापं संसारलक्षणभयं चापहन्ति इति पापभयापहं. त्वं meaning Yudhishthira or you, the reader of this, may means mattaha, from me, shrunu ekagramana bhutva avadharaya ityartha. Ekagramana means they have the focus only on this without going anywhere else, without thinking of anything else, with the concentration only on these thousand namas. May you listen from me. Tvam me mattaha shrunu ekagramana bhutva avadharaya ityartha. So being in this ekagra manas, that state, and avadharaya, meaning not only are you listening to what I am going to say, but you have to retain it as well. Avadharaya ityartha. Ekagramana bhutva avadharaya. And from Vishnu Dharma, he quotes shlokas. Ekasyeva samastasya brahmano dvijasattama namnam bhutvam lokanam upakarakaram shrunu nimitta shaktago namnam bhedinyastadudiranat bhedinyastadudiranat विभिन्नान्येव साध्यन्ते फलानि द्विजसत्तम यच्छक्तिनामगतस्य तत्तस्मिन्नेव वस्तुनि साधकं पुरुषव्याघ्र सौम्यक्रूरेषु वस्तुषु. So here in Vishnu Dharma, he is saying, O Dvijasattama, O greatest of the Dvijas, the various names of the one and only pervading Brahman serve to help all Purushas, and their effects according to the objects in the view of the reciter. And by repeating or doing japa of these names, the corresponding karmas, the phalas, they occur. And whatever power belongs to a name is effective for either sukham or dukkham, or good or evil, in that context alone. Meaning, निमित्तशक्तयो नाम्नां भेदिन्यस्तदुदीरणत् विभिन्नान्येव साध्यन्ते फलानि द्विजसत्तम. So based on the drishti of the reciter, we saw already in the beginning of the Purva Pitika, and we will continue to see in the Phalashruti as well, the various phalas that we see, right? So Kshatriyo Vijayi Bhavet, Vaishyo Dhana Samriddha Syat, we see all these things. So like these, Arthati Prapniyat Artham, like that. So this same mantra or this same stotra can be a sadhana for all four purusharthas. If we take it as a sadhana for dharma, we get dharma. kama, we get kama, our desires. And moksha can also be done in the Advaita, moksha can also be achieved by the Advaita Drishti. So what this means is Vibhinnanyeva sadhyante, because there are so many namas, we can use certain namas and just do japa of those namas. Of the 1,000 namas, we take one nama. If some person wants to get putra prapti or they want to be relieved from illness, you can just take the namas pertaining to that and do japa of that and get the phala for that. विभिन्नान्येव साध्यन्ते फलानि द्विजसत्तमः. And यच्छक्ति नाम यत्तस्य तत्तस्मिन्नेव वस्तुनि साधकं पुरुषव्याघ्र सौम्यक्रूरेषु वस्तुषु. And whatever that Shakti belongs to that Nama is effective for whether it becomes for Saumya or Krura. In that angle alone, it can be good for, it can be used for good or evil in that context alone. However, through the Vedanta Drishti that Shankaracharya has been quoting for so long, and we saw extensively in the sloka Paramamyo Mahattejaha and Pavitrana Pavitram Yaha, all these slokas for the Vyakhyanas for those slokas we saw. Like that, if you look at the Advaita Drishti, then we can get that which is Brahmasayujya. इति विष्णुधर्मवचनात् यद्यपि परस्य ब्रह्मणः षष्ठीगुणक्रियजातिरूढीनां शब्दप्रवृत्तिहेतुभूतानां निमित्तशक्तीनां च असम्भवः, तथापि सगुणे ब्रह्मणि सविकारे च सर्वात्मकत्वात् तेषां शब्दप्रवृत्तिहेतूनां असम्भवात् सर्वे शब्दाः परस्मिन् पुंसि वर्तन्ते इति. So परस्य ब्रह्मणः षष्ठी गुणक्रियजातिरूढीनां शब्दप्रवृत्तिहेतुभूतानां. So there is no there is, however, there is no even room to speak of the Brahman that gives rise to expressions. These include Shashti or relationships, guna or qualities, kriya, actions, jati meaning type, rudhinam, all these conventions, these conventional terms. Yet in the Brahman, which is Saguna Brahman, which is subject to these modifications, these expressions are possible, even though as it is all private. Hence, all speech rests in the Supreme Purusha or Nirguna Brahman. We means Nimitta Shaktinam cha Asambhavaha, meaning all these things are Asambhava, or they do not uh, exist in Nirguna Brahman, meaning the Shuddha Chaitanya does not have these qualities like these. It does not have ownership. You can say Lakshmi Pati, Guna, these qualities, Kriya, Jati, and these conventional terms like Rudhi. Since it does not have that, Nimitta Shaktinam cha Asambhavaha, तथापि सगुणे ब्रह्मणि सविकारे च सर्वात्मकत्वात् तेषां शब्दप्रवृत्तिहेतूनां संभवात् सर्वे शब्दाः परस्मिन् पुंसि वर्तन्ते. Meaning, all these are should be taken in the Parasmin Pumsi or Supreme Purusha, like that. So, like how Krishna says all these vibhutis, and then at the end he says that nothing can be qualified as a vibhuti for me. Like that, all of these are giving the Shashti, Guna, Kriya, Jati, Rudhi for the Saguna Brahman. But the actual Nirguna Brahman does not have any lakshanas. Sambhavat sarve shabdaha parasmin pumsi vartante. And then the next shloka continues. यानि नामानि गौणानि विख्यातानि महात्मनः ऋषिभिः परिगीतानि तानि वक्ष्यामि भूतये. यानि नामानि गौणानि गुणसम्बन्धीनि गुणयोगात् प्रवृत्तानि तेषु च यानि विख्यातानि प्रसिद्धानि ऋषिभिः मन्त्रैः तद्दर्शिभिश्च परिगीतानि परितः समन्ततः परमेश्वराख्यानेषु यत्र तत्र गीतानि महांश्च 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 सवत् महास् महांश्च सवात्मेति महात्मा. So yani namani gaunani. So I will, I shall, for the good of all, bhutage, yani namani gaunani, I will recite the names of the Brahman, Para Mahatma, that are expressive of his attributes, and Namani Gaunani, and Rishibhihi Parigitani, and the attributes praised by the Rishis. So he is saying Tani Vakshyami, meaning Yani Namani Gaunani, meaning Gauna comes from Guna, or the one relating to the gunas of Mahatma, Saguna Brahman. And Rishibhihi Parigitani, the qualities or the namas sung by the rishis, Tani Vakshyami Bhutage. I will now recite those or say those for Bhuti. Bhuti means for prosperity, for all of them, or for the well being of all. So, Rishi here means, so yani namani gaunani gunasambandhini gunayogat pravrittani teshu cha yani. So the ones that are relating to the gunas and the pravritti of those gunas, yani vikhyatani prasiddhani rishibhihi, are the mantras that are of prasiddha or importance by the rishibhihi, meaning the mantras, the Veda mantras, and Tat Darshibhischa, and the rishis that found the mantras. So the rishis are called the mantra drishtaras. So Rishibhihi means here mantraihi tat darshibhischa. It means both the mantras discovered by them and the rishi, the person themselves. Parigitani paritaha samantataha. परमेश्वराख्यानेषु यत्र तत्र गीतानि महांश्च सवात्मेति इति. And so here he is saying that since he receives, the Atman receives, or we will first continue with the full Vyakhyana and then continue. Mahatma says, for Mahatma, he quotes from uh, Linga Purana, Yachapnoti yada datte yachati vishayaniha yachasti santo bhavah tasmadatmeti kirtyate iti vachanat ayameva mahanatma tasya अचिंत्य प्रभावस्य तानि वक्ष्यामि भूतये पुरुषार्थ चतुष्टय सिद्ध्यै सिद्धयै सिद्ध्यै भूतये पुरुषार्थ चतुष्टार्थ नाम पुरुषार्थ चतुष्टयार्थिनाम इति. Yeah. So the Atman who possesses unimaginable powers, achintya prabhavasya bhutaye, meanings for the one that desires the four kind of human aspirations or the four purusharthas and enable them again with the same. Purushartha chatushtayarthinam iti. The arthi means the seeker of the purushartha chatushtayas. So for them we will be discussing these namas. Yachapnoti yada datte yachati vishayaniha yachasti santato bhavaha tasmadatmeti kirtyate. So this Atma is of no qualities, and because of that we will just be discussing the saguna aspects of that. Since he receives and enjoys everything, all the objects here, and since he is always eternally existing, he is called Atman. Tasmad Atmeti Kirtyate. यच्चाप्नोति यत् आदत्ते यच्चात्ति विषयानिह यच्चास्ति सन्ततो भावः तस्मात् आत्मा इति कीर्त्यते. So the word Atma comes from because he realizes, receives, and enjoys all the objects, and since he is eternally existing in all three kalas, in as a Nitya Vastu, so he has got the Nama Atma. And like that, here it concludes the Purva Pitika. Just for sake of completion, we can also go over the certain shlokas. The Rishinamnam Sahasrasya Vedavyaso Mahamunihi Chando Nushtup Tatha Devo Bhagavan Devaki Sutah Amratam Shudbhavo Bijam Shatkir Devaki Nandanaha Trasama Hridayam Tasya Shantyarthe Vinigujjate. So these thousand names are sung for peace and has Vedavyasa as the sage. Vedavyaso Mahamunihi. So for any shloka, if we take it as a mantra for upasana, we have to first recite the Rishi, Devata, and Chandas, and along with the dhyana. So even though Shankaracharya did not write a bhashya or vyakhyana for this bhaga, at least we can look at the Pratipadartha in the sense that the Nam Sahasrasya Vedavyaso Mahamunihi Rishihi. So for all of these thousand names, the Vyasa Muni is the Maharishi because this comes as part of Mahabharata, which was written by Bhagavan Vedavyasa himself, along with the Ashtadasha Puranas and Brahma Sutras, etc. Chando Nushtup Tada Devo Bhagavan Devaki Sutaha. And the chanda is, our meter is the Anushtup Chandas, constituting of 32 aksharas per shloka. And the Deva, our God, is Bhagavan Devaki Sutaha, the son of Devaki. Avratam Shudbhavo Bijam Shaktir Devaki Nandanaha Trasama Hridayam Tasya Shantyarthe Vinigujjate. We see the shloka Trisama Samagas Sametika Vacham. So Trisama Hridayam Tasya Shantyarthe Vinigujjate. And so for each of the mantras, we have a Rahasya, Bijam, and Shakti, and Hridayam, and where it is used. So here the Viniyoga or use is said to be Shantyarthe. It is said to be used for Shanti, Manashanti. And the shloka of Amratam Shudbhavaha is the Bijam, and Shaktir Devaki is the Devaki Nandana is the Shakti, and Trisama is the Hridayam, and the Vinyoga is for Shanti. And Vishnum Jishnum Mahavishnum Prabhavishnum Maheshwaram Aneka Rupa Daityantam Namami Purushottamam. Namami, meaning I bow before the Vishnum Jishnum Mahavishnum, who is everywhere, Sarvavyapi. Vishnu we saw is omnipresent. Vishnum, Jishnum, the one that defeats all Shatrus, who always has Jaya. And Mahavishnum, who is in every being, Prabhavishnum Maheshwaram, the one who is in every being and the god of all gods. Aneka Rupa Daityantam, who is the killer of the Daityas or Asuras. Anta, meaning the whoever causes the end or destruction for those. And Maheshwaram, the one who is Anekarupa Daityantam Namami Purushottamam. Mahavishnum, whoever is the greatest among all, and Purushottama, whoever is the greatest of all Purushas. For that Vishnu, I am doing Namaskara, Namami Purushottamam. And then we have all the dhyana shlokas like Shirodhanvat Pradeshe. But before looking at those, we can first go into the first vyakhyana of the first shloka, and then after we have the introduction, we can go back and look at the dhyana shlokas and continue. So, like how Shankaracharya gave a big introduction for the Purva Pitika, again for this section also, for the Namas as well, Shankaracharya has given a good introduction. अथ सहस्रनाम अथ नाम सहस्रे आदित्यादि शब्दानाम् अर्थान्तरे प्रसिद्धानाम् आदित्यादि अर्थानां तद्विभूतित्वेन तद्भेदात् तस्यैव स्तुतिरिति प्रसिद्धार्थग्रहणेऽपि तत् स्तुतित्वम्. So, among these thousands names, the words such as Aditya, meaning sun, etc., having individual connotations and meaning, such as the Pratyaksha Surya we see every day, really mean the Paramatma himself and are his praises, since they are only his manifestations and not distinct from him. There is no bheda between the Bimba and Pratibimba. The Bimba Pratibimba we can see in all basic Vedanta granthas as well, pertaining to Aditya. So we have only one Surya, which can be thought of as Brahman, and we have all these Pratibimbas, reflections in every well, every lake, every container. If we put some water, we can see the reflection of Aditya. But without the Pratyaksha Surya itself, can any of these Pratibimbas exist? No. And also there is a vessel, there is a body of water, or there is a mirror, or there is some vastu in which we see the pratibimba. Like that, without the means, because we cannot see the pratibimba does not mean that the bimba doesn't exist. Bimba means the actual vastu, and pratibimba means the reflection of them. Like that, whenever we see all these shabdas like Aditya, even though it has the meaning of the Pratyaksha Surya that we see, who is the husband of Chaya and Suvarchalamba, Chaya Suvarchalamba Sameta Sri Suryanarayana. Here, that is only the Pratibimba of the Shakti of Ishvara or Parabrahman. Like that, all of these namas also should be taken in that Advaita Drishti. So we have all these Pratibimbas. There can be one Pratibimba, there can be thousands of Pratibimbas. But the Pratibimba cannot exist without the Bimba. Like that, all of these things should only be taken as a stuti for Brahman. And for that, he quotes one sloka that we saw already and a new sloka, which were Bhutatma Chendriyatma cha Pradhanatma Tatha Bhavan Atma cha Paramatma cha Tvamekah Panchada Sthitaha. So you are the same in all the bhutas, in the bhutatma, indriyatma, pradhanatma, and you, atma, paramatma. All these five things are all one itself. Ekaha panchadha sthitaha. So that same Brahman is seen as the bhutatma, indriyatma, pradhanatma, in you, bhavan, atma, and paramatma. So all these words we are only seeing as vyavaharika padas for the pratibimba. Like that, again he quotes Jyotim Shi Vishnur Bhuvanani Vishnuhu Vanani Vishnur Girago Dishascha Nadyas Samudrascha Sa Eva Sarvam Yadasti Yannasti Cha Vipravarya. Like all these, the stars are Vishnu. Jyotim Shi Vishnuhu Bhuvanani Vishnuhu. The Bhuvanani, the entire words, the 14 Dasa Bhuvanas are Vishnu. Vanani Vishnuhu, Girayah Dishascha. Vanani, the forests are Vishnu. Girayah, the Parvatas, the mountains are Vishnu. And Dishascha, all the diks, all 10 diks or directions are of Vishnu. Nadyaha Samudraha Sa Eva Sarvam. Nadyas Samudrascha Sa Eva Sarvam. The nadis, the rivers, the oceans, in which all rivers go and merge into Saeva Sarvam Yadasti Yannasti Cha Vipravarya. He is all that is and all that is not. Yadasti Yannasti Cha Vipravarya. Sambodhana to a Vipra in this context. So he is saying that there is nothing but that. He is everything and he is the Abhava as well. And iti Vishnu Purane. And in Vibhuti Yoga Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Adityanam Aham Vishnu. Of the Adityas, of the Dwadasha Adityas, I am the Vishnu. I am Vishnu. इत्यारभ्य अथवा बहुनैतेन किं ज्ञातेन तवार्जुन विष्टभ्याहिमिदं कृत्स्नम् एकांशेन स्थितो जगत्. So this actually, this vibhuti starts very well because Shankaracharya used Aditya in the example itself. But all these vibhutis starting with आदित्यानाम अहम विष्णुः ज्योतिषां रविरं शुमान् मरीचिर्मरुतामस्मि नक्षत्राणाम अहम शशि वेदानां सामवेदोऽस्मि. All these vibhutis we see in Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter. इत्यारभ्य अथवा बहुनैतेन किं ज्ञातेन तवार्जुन विष्टभ्याहमिदं कृत्स्नम् एकांशेन स्थितो जगत्. So Krishna says, Athava bahuna etena kim jnatena tavarjuna vishtabhyahamidam krishnam ekamshena sthito jagatu. You can see me in all these vibhutis. You can see me as Adityanam aham Vishnuhu. You can see me as Jyotisham Raviram Shuman. You can see me as Marichir Marutam Asmi. You can see me as Nakshatranam aham Shashi. Or Athava bahuna etena kim jnatena tavarjuna vishtabhya aham idam kritsnam ekamshena sthito jagati. Or you can see me as the karta of this kritsnam, this entire jagat, and you can see me as the one that created and is maintaining this entire jagat. Iti paryantam Gita su. So we can see all this in Bhagavad Gita. And in Upanishads, again, we can see Brahmai Vedam Vishwavidam Varishtham Purusha Vedam Vishwam iti Shrutischa. In the Upanishads, which are also a bhaga of the Shruti itself, we can see mantras like Brahmai Vedam Vishwamidam Varishtham and Purusha Vedam Vishwam iti. So this is all saying basically that this Brahman is the entire Jagat. And Vishnavadi Shabdanam पुनरुक्तानामपि वृत्तिभेदेन अर्थभेदात् न पौनरुक्त्यम्. So this paunarukti dosha meaning is one that if you say something that already you said before, that is called paunaruktyam, because you are saying it punaha ukta saying, right? So such words like Vishnu, though repeated in this Vishnu Sahasranama, are not uh, part of this Paunarukti dosha, because the meaning differs with the function. And how can we see that? Shripatihi Madhava ityadinam vrityekatvepi shabdabhedat na Paunarukyam. All these words like Shripati, Madhava, etc., though one and the same in meaning, differ in expression. So we can refer to that Vishnu as Shripati, the Lord of Shri or Lakshmi, or Madhava, like that. So it does not mean, even though they all denote the same Vyakti, the meaning of the or the origin of that Nama is obviously different. Like that, that does not constitute to Paunarukta dosha. Na Paunarukyam. Arthaikatvepi na Paunarukyam doshaya. And even if it has the same artha, because Sripati and Madhava, they have different origins. Even if they have the same origin, Arthaikatvepi na Paunarukyam doshaya. Nam sahasrasya kimekam daivatam iti पृष्टेः एकदैवत विषयत्वात्. And even if they have the same meaning, again that is not Paunaraktya dosha, because Yudhishthira wanted to ask Kimekam Daivatam Loke, and he wanted to know the one deity whose names were 1,000, and because these denote a single devata. So here also, since there is a single devata or single Brahman, there is no Paunaraktya dosha there as well. And again, he is giving a clarification in terms of linga. Yatra pullinga shabda prayogaha tatra Vishnur visheshyah. Yatra strilinga shabdaha tatra devata visheshyate. Yatra napumsakalinga shabdaha tatra brahmeti visheshyate. Again, this is very good context that we need to know. Because without this context, we will not be able to understand the way in which we have to interpret it. So yatra pullinga shabda prayogah tatra vishnur visheshyah. So wherever, so the thousand namas, they constitute of namas or names in all three genders of linguistics. So wherever we say the pullinga shabda like Vishnuhu, Vashatkaraha, like those, we whenever we see that, we have to take those as Vishnur Visheshyaha. Vishnu is being described in the pullinga. Yatra strilinga shabdah tatra devata visheshyate. And devata is a strilinga. So already we said that deva and devata are same. Deva, they're all the same, all denoting to Brahman itself. So since devata is a strilinga shabda, akaranta strilinga shabda, yatra strilinga shabdah tatra devata visheshyate. So whenever we see a strilinga nama of Vishnu, there we have to take that devata is being described. And yatra napumsakalinga shabdah tatra brahmeti vishishyate. And wherever there is a napumsakalinga shabda, like the first nama Vishwam, that is napumsakalinga shabda, meaning it is in the neuter case. So we saw in the masculine case it refers to Vishnu, in the feminine case it refers to Devata, and in the neuter case it refers to Brahman. So this Brahman is a napumsakalinga shabda. When we use Brahma in the Pullinga, that refers to both are Nakaranta Shabdas itself, Brahman. But when Brahma is used in the Pullinga Shabda, that refers to Chaturmukha Brahma, which we see as the Karta of Srishti or Prajapati. And when the same Shabdas used in the Napumsakalinga or neuter case, that refers to Paramatman, Brahman, or the Nirguna Brahman, not the Brahma Devata that we see with Chaturmukha. So that is one good context that we definitely need. And yatas sarvani bhutani ityarabhya jagat utpatti sthiti laya karanasya brahmanah ekadaivatvena abhihitatvat adau ubhayavidham brahma vishwa shabdena uchyate. Hmm. And the Purva Pitika, last three Purva Pitika slokas that Shankaracharya had written the commentary on, which were Yatas Sarvani Bhutani Bhavanti Adigagame, Yasminscha Planginyanti Punarevi Vikshe, Tasya Loka Pradhanasya Jagannathasya Bhupate, Vishnor Nama Sahasram Me Shunupapa Bhayapaham, Yani Namani Gonani Vikhyatani Mahatmanah, Rishibhif Parigitani Tani Vakshami Bhutage. These three slokas और यतः सर्वाणि भूतानि इत्यारभ्य जगत् उत्पत्ति स्थिति लक्षण लय कारणस्य ब्रह्मणः एकदैवत्वेन अभिहितत्वात् आदौ उभयविधिं ब्रह्मं विश्वशब्देन उच्यते. Beginning from the yatah sarvani and up to the last verse, Brahman, the cause of the origin and preservation, Sthiti and Laya, destruction of the universe, has been spoken of as a single deity. The twofold Brahman, both the Saguna and Nirguna, is termed in the beginning as Vishwam, or the first Nama, Vishwam Vishnur Vashatkara. And like that, Brahman is spoken of as Vishwa, being the cause of the entire manifested universe. Thus, the word Vishwam as being the effect of a cause is used in the beginning to show that Vishnu can be praised by the names of Brahma as well, who are the effects, like Chaturmukha Brahma. So both can be denoted by Vishwam. Iti Ubhaya Vidhim Brahma Vishwashabdena Uchyate. Both the Pullinga form and the Napumsakalinga form can be denoted by Vishnu. Because the Chaturmukha Brahma is only merely a amsha of that, right? Of the Paramatma. So both can be taken. And the first shloka is Om विश्वं विष्णुर्वषट्कारो भूतभव्यभवत्प्रभुः भूतकृद्भूतभृद्भावो भूतात्मा भूतभावनः. So the first nama is Vishwam. So already we saw a context where the both Brahma can be denoted by Vishwa. Both the Pullinga Brahma and Napumsakalinga Brahma Shabda Brahman can be used. And for that, Shankaracharya writes the Vyakhyana Vishwasya Jagatah Karanattvena Vishwam Ityuchyate Brahma. आदौ तु विश्वमिति कार्यशब्देन कारणग्रहणं कार्यभूतविरिञ्चादीनां विरिञ्चादिनां विरिञ्चादिनाम् अभिः अपि विरिञ्चादिनामभिः अपि उपपन्ना स्तुतिः विष्णोः इति दर्शयितुम्. विश्वस्य जगतः कारणत्वेन विश्वम् इत्युच्यते ब्रह्म. So the karana of the entire jagat, Vishwasya jagatah karanattvena vishwam ityuchyate Brahma or Brahma. Adau tu Vishwamiti karya shabdena karanagrahanam. So the karya shabda should be taken as the karana or the paramatman. Karyabhuta virinchadinamabihi api upapanna stutihi Vishnoho iti darshagitum. So the Karyabhuta, the Virinchi, meaning the Chaturmukha Brahma, Narayana, Shankara, all these namas are coming from that. Upapannaha stutihi Vishnoho iti darshagitum. These are all of Vishnu. So this is to say that. So the universe is really not different from the Supreme Purusha. Hence, Brahman is spoken of as Vishva. So there is reality, nothing is different from him. यद्वा परस्मात् पुरुषात् न भिन्नमिदं विश्वं परमार्थः परमार्थः तेन विश्वम् इति अभिधीयते ब्रह्म. ब्रह्मैवेदं विश्वं विश्वमिदं वरिष्ठं पुरुष एवेदं विश्वम् इत्यादिश्रुतिभ्यः तद्भिन्नं न किञ्चित् परमार्थतः सदस्ति. नासतो विद्यते भावो नाभावो विद्यते सतः is what Bhagavan says in Sankhya Yoga. There is nothing that is asat and there is no abhava of sat. Like that, there is nothing that is bhinna from the karana of the srishti sthiti laya. Yadva parasmat purushat na bhinna midam vishwam paramartha tena vishwam iti abhideyate brahma. So here, when we take the Navamsakalinga form of Brahma, we have to see that there is nothing that is different from this Supreme Purusha. Parasmat Purushat na bhinnam idam Vishwam. This entire Vishwam, this entire cosmos is not different from the Supreme Purusha. Paramartha, that is the Paramartha. Tena Vishwam iti abhidiyate. And by that it is called as Vishwam. It got the name Vishwam, Brahma. And that also has the name as Brahman. Brahman and Vishwam are both the same. Brahmaivedam Vishwam idam varishtham Purushayevedam Vishwam ityadi shrutibhya tad bhinnam na kinchit paramarthatah sadasti. Sat meaning there is no true thing that is different from the Brahman or Vishwam. Athava vishati iti Vishwam Brahma tat srishtva tadeva anupravishat iti. So each word can have so many vigraha vakyas, can have so many utpattis. Like that, Brahman, the word Vishwam can also be taken from the dhatu Vishati iti Vishwam, or the one that pervades, the one that enters, is called Vishwa. Athava Vishati iti Vishwam. So the third artha we can take is Vishati iti Vishwam, Brahman. And how? Shruti says, Tat Srishtva Tadevanu Pravishat. So Paramatman doing Srishti, again he entered into that. So the entire cosmos is nothing different than Paramatma, as Shankaracharya has already quoted multiple times already. So like that, Tat Srishtva Tadevanu Pravishat shows that this Brahman, after doing Srishti of the Jagat, he entered into that. So like that, Anupravishate means he did pravesha, he followed and entered into that. So, it is Shrutehe. Kincha संहृतो विशन्ति सर्वाणि भूतानि अस्मिन् इति विश्वं ब्रह्म यत् प्रयन्त्यभिसंविशन्ति इति श्रुतेः. And moreover, yet prayanti abhisamvishanti. As we saw, the Tatastha Lakshanam has three parts. Yato va imani bhutani jayante, yena jatani jivanti, yet prayanti abhisamvishanti. So, yato va imani bhutani jayante, it's corresponding to tat srishtva tadeva anupravishat. And yat prayanti abhisamvishanti, during the laya samaya, yat prayanti abhisamvishanti, the place where they enter, which from at the end or they dissolve into, which is the same as where they came from. So wherever they came from, again at the end they dissolve into that. And who is that? That is Brahman. So samhrato vishanti. Kincha samhrato vishanti sarvani bhutani asmin iti vishvam Brahma. So another name of the another utpatti for Vishwam is संहृतो विशन्ति सर्वाणि भूतानि अस्मिन् इति विश्वं ब्रह्मा. So meaning the one whatever is being entered by all the bhutanis, by all beings at the end. Samhrito, meaning in the samhriti or in the end, in the samaya of the laya, the another utpatti of Vishwam can be taken. So Vishati iti Vishwam by yato va imani bhutani jayante tat srishtva tadeva anupravishat. All these things from which because it entered, and also all beings entered that in the final time. संहृतो विशन्ति सर्वाणि भूतानि अस्मिन् इति विश्वं ब्रह्म यत् प्रगन्त्यभिसंविशन्ति इति श्रुतेः. तथा हि सकलं जगत् कार्यभूतम् एष विशति अत्र च अखिलं विशति इति उभयथापि विश्वं ब्रह्म इति. So ubhaya meaning both uh, because it Brahman entered into the Srishti, and because all beings enter into that again in the Pralaya Samaya, because of both of these, Ubhayathapi Vishwam Brahma iti, by both the entering and of Brahman and the dissolving of all beings back into Brahman, we can take as Tatha hi Sakalam Jagat Karyabhutam Esha Vishati iti. So Sakalam Jagat Karyabhutam Esha Vishati iti cha Akhilam Vishati Atra. So meaning it enters the entire Jagat Karyabhutam and Akhilam Vishati, and yeah, all the Jagat also it goes into that. Iti Ubhayathapi Vishwam Brahma iti. So far we have seen Vishwasya Jagataha Karanattvena Vishwam Mityuchyate Brahma. Being the cause of the universe, Brahman itself is called as Vishwa. And the next artha we saw was uh, Parasmat Purushat na Bhinnam Idam Vishwam Paramarthatah Tena Vishwam iti Abhidhiyate Brahma. The second origin or where Vishwam derives from is Parasmat Purushat na Bhinnam Idam Vishwam Paramarthatah Tena Vishwam iti Abhidhiyate Brahma. Universe is Brahman as it is not different from Brahman itself. It is not different. The Parasmat Purushat na Bhinnam Idam Vishwam Paramarthatah. Because in the Paramartha Drishti, by the Paramartha, uh, the actual truth, the universe is Brahman as it is not different from Brahman, non-dual, and Vishati iti Vishwam Brahma, that which creates, and Samhrado Bhutani Vishanti, and that which creates and enters its creation by Yat Priyanti Tat Srishtva Tadevanu Pravishat, and Samhrado Bhutani Vishanti Yasmin, and that into which everything that is created also enters in dissolution. So far we have seen four Utpatti Vakyas for Brahman. The next meaning Shankaracharya gives is Vishwam means Omkara or Pranava. अन्यत्र धर्मात् अन्यत्र अधर्मात् इत्यारभ्य सर्वे वेद यत् पदम् आमनन्ति तपांसि सर्वाणि च यत् वदन्ति यदिच्छन्तो ब्रह्मचर्यं चरन्ति तत्ते पदं संग्रहेण वीभ्योमित्येतत्. And एतद् एतद् एतद्ध्येवाक्षरं ब्रह्म एतद्ध्येवाक्षरं परम् एतद्धि एवाक्षरं ज्ञात्वा यो यदिच्छन्ति तस्य तत् इति काटके. एतद्वै सत्यकाम परञ्च अपरं च ब्रह्म यदोङ्कारः इत्युपक्रम्य यः पुनरेतं त्रिमात्रेण ओमिति एतेन एव अक्षरेण परम पुरुषम अभिध्यायीत इति प्रश्नोपनिषदि ओमिति ब्रह्म ओमितीद सर्वम् ओमितीदं सर्वम् इति यजुर्वेद आरण्यके. तद्यथा शङ्कुना सर्वाणि पर्णानि सन्तृणानि एवम् ओङ्कारेण सर्वा वाक् सन्तृण्णा ओंकार एवेदं सर्वम् इति छान्दोग्ये ओमित्येतत् अक्षरम् इदं सर्वम् इति उपक्रम्य. And we see also so many shlokas after this. So the next, the fifth meaning of Vishwa is the monosyllable Omkara or Pranava. And Kataka says, Sarve Veda yat padam amananti tapamsi sarvani cha yat vadanti. So that which you see other than dharma and adharma, anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharmat is the first one, and the first quotation. And the second quotation is Sarve Veda yat padam amananti tapamsi sarvani cha yad vadanti yadichanto brahmacharyam charanti tatte padam sangrahena vibhyo mityetat. And the word or the pada of which all the Vedas speak, Sarve Veda yat padam amananti tapamsi sarvani cha yat vadanti, and what all the different types of tapas. Like already we saw Yajnanam Japa Yajñosmi, and there are so many types of tapas like Ratan tapas, Satyan tapas, Shrutan tapas, Shantan tapo, Damastapas, Shamastapo, Danantapo, Yajñantapo, Bhurbhavassuva, Brahmaitatupa Tat tapaha. Thus Brahmopasana can be done in so many forms. So there are so many types of tapas, and all of these tapas they also proclaim this one Om or Pranava. And yadichanto brahmacharyam charanti, and whatever the people living the life of a brahmachari, meaning the one that are focusing on the study of the Veda and the focusing on Atmajnana. Brahma can mean both Veda and Atmajnana or Brahman also. So based on which a brahmachari means the one that is charati or going in that path of Brahman. And yat ichchantah brahmacharyam charanti tatte padam sangrahena vibhyomityetat. And that word I tell you is Om. Vibhyah Om iti etat. And etadhi aksharam brahma etadhi evaksharam param etadhi evaksharam jnatva yaha yadichanti tasya tat. And this word is indeed Brahman. Aksharam Brahma, he, indeed. And this is the Param or greatest. This word is indeed the highest. Etadhyevaksharam Param. Etadhyevaksharam Jnatva. Yaha yadichanti yaha yadichati tasya tat. And whoever knows this word obtains whatever he desires. Yat icchanti tat tasya evaksharam jnatva yaha yadichanti tasya yat ichchati tasya tat. Meaning he gets whatever he desires by the true jnana of pranava iti kathake. So like this he again quotes so many other Upanishad vakyas and Smriti Vakyas itself as well. So we can continue with the Mahima of Omkara in the next class and continue the Vishnu Sahasranama Bhashya from there. So until now we have seen the a portion of the first Nama, which is Vishwam in the Moola Vishnu Sahasranama, and the Tika or Vyakhyana written by Adi Shankaracharya. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Tat Sat Brahmarpanamastu.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you so much, Pranavji. It was so good. Very well. I think we have started off the Vishnu Sahasranama Bhashyam in earnest today. Shankara Chaturthi also today. So very nice. We started off with the meaning of Vishnu, that one word in Vishwam in the Napupsangalingam, right? That's correct, in the neuter gender. And so really looking forward to that. Let me continue with the Mangalam, and then we can have a few questions if possible. Okay.
Thank you.
मङ्गलं गुरुश्री चन्द्रमौळीश्वर के शक्ति गणपति शारदाम्बिके शंकराचार्यर के शक्ति गणपति महागणपति शारदाम्बिके के काल भैरवर के काली दुर्गै के वीर धीर शूर हनुम मारुति चरणतिके मल्लिकार्जुनर के செல்வ ஜனார்தனர் கே அம்பா பவானி கம்பத கணபதி சண்டி சாமுண்டி கே ஸ்ரீ கிருஷ்ண பகவான் கே ஸ்ரீ சக்கரவாசினி கே சீதாராம லக்ஷ்மண சகித மாருதி சரணத்திற்கே வித்யாரண்யர் கே विद्याशंकर के वागीश्वरी के वज्रदेग गरुड़ आंजनेयर के श्रीवल्ली देव सेना समेत सुब्रमण्यर के तुंगभद्रै के श्रृंगनिवासिनी के श्रृंगेरी पुरिயில் நிலைத்திருக்கும் எங்கள் சாரதாம்பிகைக்கே सच्चिदानंद शिव अभिनव नृसिंह भारती के श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु सार्वभौमर के श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु विद्यातीर्थर के श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु भारती तीर्थर के श्री चंद्रशेखर भारती गुरु विदुशेखर भारती के मंगलम गुरु श्री चंद्रमौळीश्वर के शक्ति गणपति शारदाम्बिक शंकराचार्यर के शक्ति गणपति महागणपति शारदाम्बिகை के श्रृंगेरी पुरिயில் நிறைந்திருக்கும் எங்கள் சாரதாம்பிகைக்கே
You're on mute.